So, this is just a disclaimer. There may be things that trigger you about forgiveness, but what's important to remember here is that you're willing to look at why. And it can be very rewarding because the past has already happened and it can't hurt you anymore. You are older and wiser, and it's there to remind us that there are parts of ourselves that we reject. And sometimes it does feel vulnerable, but it does become easier as you do it more and more. And it allows us to grow. So, this healing your relationship with forgiveness training is perfect for you if you are holding on to resentment about the past in your relationships or from previous trauma. You get angry all the time, or blow your stack, or maybe you bottle it up inside. You have a lot of mistrust in your relationships now and aren't able to feel safe and secure. You blame others for what's going wrong in your life. But how about if you were able to express your emotions without reacting? You felt more connection with your partner and you were able to let go of the past. You could restore intimacy and trust. How would that be? Okay, so what to expect? This will be in 4 parts. I will uncover the secret to forgiveness, ways to overcome resentment, hurt, frustration, and anger, the power of choice to have more control of your life, discover how to feel more your emotions differently, and find out something new about yourself, and have some fun. So, first of all, I'd just like your permission, and I'd like it for your forgiveness and I have to give it to myself because I had actually recorded this and then it got lost. So, this was because I had an internet problem, and so now I'm just re recording it. But I am still feeling really inspired by you being here today. And I know that you will hear things that will allow you to see the world clearer. Thank you for committing your time now. Time is a precious commodity. And I want you to get the most out of this. So, is it okay if I'm honest with my approach? Get yourself comfy, grab a notepad and pen, drink if you need it, and turn off all those distractions and be ready to learn. It will stay with you longer if you're interactive. And so do the exercises along the way. And at the end, I'm going to tell you a bit about my Respect Relationship program, and I hope that's okay. Also, there will be a gift too. I'd like to acknowledge that I'm broadcasting on the unceded land of the Dja Dja Wurrung people of the Kulin Nation, who have been the custodians of this land for centuries and continue with ceremonies, customs, and storytelling, as I am privileged to do today. I pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging that hold the memories, traditions of Aboriginal people. This is Aboriginal land, always was, always will be. So, to start, I'd like you to just think about something around forgiveness. So, just get relaxed, and I'm going to help you release some of that negative charge and give you some more consistent results in your life by this little practice. And all I want you to do is pick a spot on the wall just above eye level and know that you're safe and sound in your seat, and let my voice just guide you. And as you're focusing all your attention on that spot on the wall, just above eye level, you're focusing all of that attention. You can hear my voice and you're feeling safe and sound on your seat. And out of the corner of your eye, you want to expand your peripheral vision. And you can see that my hand is moving. And as you're focused and relaxed and open, and you remain in this expanded awareness, this is also known as hakalau. And I want you to ask your unconscious mind, as you're focused on that spot on the wall and totally aware, what do I need to know about forgiveness? When it comes to forgiveness in my life, in the context of my relationship, who do I need to forgive? As you let go of all that anger and frustration now, allow yourself to access memories, emotions, any time that you feel that you need to forgive. As your expanded awareness on that spot on the wall, you are feeling more calm and more open to new possibilities. And as you come back to the room, just be aware of those awareness that you had in that state of hakalau, that the feelings that came up when you're thinking about relationship. And how do you feel now when you think of forgiveness? Maybe take a moment to write that down. Let me introduce myself. My name's Anwyn Steckerhoffs, and I run a business called Awakenings with Anwyn. I'm a relationship coach, and I believe that respect is the key to the longevity and harmony of all relationships. So this wasn't always my career. Many moons ago, I started my career as a chef. I loved cooking from an early age. It was all I wanted to be. But we wrap ourselves up in our career identity. And it's interesting, I heard Vin Jin say recently that we often fall victim to the sunk cost fallacy. So just because we've invested all this time, energy and money into a career, it doesn't mean that we have to continue down that road. And I consider myself to be quite adventurous and also creative, so I decided to take another career. Photography and making things look good on a plate has always been something I've been interested in. And so it brought me to the conclusion that food styling was for me. But I soon learned that it went against my values because of the environment. It was very wasteful. Then I was in an ethical sensuality shop for women, and I discovered a flyer and it said Dominatrix course coming soon. And this sounded really exciting, so I jumped in. And this led me to an exploration of my inner journey around sensuality, childhood trauma, power, control, and personal development. And whilst doing this, I discovered NLP and found a trainer, which was Evolve and Relaunch, and then went on to study NLP with them and loved it so much that I did hypnotherapy and then master practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming and timeline therapy. And this brings me to where I am now. So just to give you a little bit of context, I will give you some background about how John and I got together. Also, why I chose to focus on relationships. Did you know that 1 in 3 marriages end in divorce in Australia? And 70% of unmarried couples break up in the first year. So I'll tell you a bit about our story. This is us on our wedding day in Venice over 30 years ago. And we didn't get together straight away. We actually talked and worked and cooked together for 6 months before we did, and became friends first. Now, after 30 years together, I have learned to take responsibility now. But it wasn't always like that before. I had felt a lot of resentment and lost. And then in a pivotal moment when we had lost our spark, I was asked the question, do you want to be together? And I knew in that moment I needed to make this important decision on my own. And so I told my partner, I choose you. And he said it could have gone either way. And I know from my work that these decisions at the time seemed painful, but when I made it, it freed me up. But we never rest on our laurels, so we're constantly communicating and committing to each other. And I know I have his support. And it comes down to a decision that you make when it's time now. Every course of our life is a decision that we've made, and forgiveness is a decision. So my inspiration for forgiveness was His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Facing our problems, which are the source of our anger, is the best opportunity to practice genuine compassion. It's easy to feel compassion for a friend, but an enemy, that's the important one. This so-called enemy is the best teacher for you. If you have compassion and respect for these people, it gives this at the same time inner peace, inner strength. Feel grateful for these people. Extend or exchange your well-being for them. There is no joy until you let go of weariness. Problems come from excessive self-focus. More problems can give more compassion. So more inner peace and inner strength. Rebuild relationships and trust. So probably the reason why you're here is related to some sort of trauma, and it seems like a hard pill to swallow, but remember, forgiveness is about ourselves, not the other person. And there's some examples of trauma here, which, is pretty much something that anyone can experience. And so forgiveness doesn't have to even be directly to the person, and it can be a process in which it allows you to let go, and it frees you up from control of them, which can lead to empathy and compassion. And it does not condone the action. Forgiveness creates space for positive thoughts, and that's where my process came from. So I saw my abusers need to belong, to feel love, instead of expecting him to say sorry, because I can't control what anyone else does. And that is giving them too much power. When I made the decision to forgive, this gave me the power. The forgiveness process is an individual journey and has no time frame. It's a little bit like grief in that way. And you'll find your muscle and you'll build it over time. And this gives you a deeper understanding of yourself. And so it's your commitment to change. So here I am. And through my work with NLP and hypnotherapy, I have created a safe space to address my abuse, and this work has got to my core issues really fast. So I was 6 years old, and it was about when this photo was taken, and I was enticed into a situation by a family member. And at this age, I didn't even have a concept of what sex was. I also had no words to describe my abuse. And our past then forms who we are, but it doesn't define us. There are a number of values at play here, safety and trust, to name some. And then as an adult from this experience, I decided that I would always be in control of my relationships, although I had unconsciously set myself up to fail. I later studied, as I said before, to be a dominatrix, to take back my power and have the control over men like I thought that they'd had over me before. I discovered very quickly that it wouldn't work. It's not an external thing. It's something that I needed to experience internally. I needed to step into my own power and be that goddess that I really was. I didn't need to pay for it, earn it, or prove it to anyone. I want you to know that you do have the power, and it's by stepping into those emotions and habits that we've formed. And this is the first step to change. So my priority now is to allow you to be able to for me to create a safe space to get in touch with your core values. And any trauma in our lives can create fear. And in my instance, I'd linked sex with money and pain, and in turn, money had represented my worthiness. And the emotional charge of my experience had connected money to shame of having it. And it's important that we speak our truths and we process this. So I help individuals, especially women, gain respect, enhance their intimacy, feel more connected by building trust for relationship, longevity and harmony. So what is responsibility in relationships? This is a quote from the late Wayne Dyer. Love is my gift to the world. I fill myself with love. I send that love out into the world. How others treat me is their path. How I react is mine. Very powerful. I'd like to tell you a story. It's called A Different Take on Halloween by Pedro Pablo Sacrosan. A long time ago, most monsters were charming, sweet-toothed individuals, silly, hairy guys who lived happily in their monster world. They talked and played with kids and would tell them bedtime stories. But one day, some monsters had a great big argument over a small tree, and one beast got so angry that his furious cries would have frightened anyone. Among those who got the biggest fright were the most fearful of the letters like L, T and D. They ran far from that place. The monsters kept shouting, and other letters decided to get out of there. As more letters left, what the monsters were shouting became more difficult to understand. Finally, only a few brave letters remained in the world of monsters, like G and R. This meant the monsters could no longer say anything other than grr and ah or boo. From then on, each time they went to visit some of their child friends, the monsters ended up frightening the children. As time passed, the idea spread that monsters are terrifying beings who think of frightening us before eating us. One day, a girl was in Monster World looking for her ball. Hidden under some leaves, she found all the missing letters, who were living there paralysed with fear. This worried the girl, and she decided to take the letters to her house to look after them. She was a very special girl because she had managed to remain friends with one of the nice, intelligent monsters. And this monster, seeing that nothing he tried to say came out right, pretended he couldn't talk so that he would never frighten anyone. He communicated with the girl using gestures. When that night this monster went to visit the girl and saw the missing letters, he was so happy that he asked her if he could use the letters to talk. And for the first time, the little girl heard her monster friend's sweet voice. Together they set out to restore the voices of the other monsters, and they visited them one after another, leaving letters with them, for the monsters could finally say nice words again. The grateful monsters gave the girl and her friend the best treats they had in their house. Finally, it was time to go to visit the grumpy monster, who had been at the centre of the original argument. He was very old by now, but when he saw the letters, he jumped so abruptly that his old bones almost leapt out of his body. He looked at the frightened letters tenderly and picked out the right ones to say sorry. He must have been waiting years for that moment, because immediately he warmly invited them all into his house. And when they went in, they saw that all the preparations had been made for an enormous party, which just goes to show that forgiveness is a decision that we make. So I was watching The New Look, which is all about Christian Dior's story in Paris, and he said about war. How can we forgive them, ourselves, humanity? We return to joy. We feel, dream, live, and create a new world for them. Build a beautiful garden for them. I thought this was very nice. Expression of forgiveness. Okay, so this is an exercise that will help you gain clarity with decisions. It's called the 6 Thinking Hats and was developed by Edward de Bono and is like role play. So each hat represents a different perspective or way of thinking to approach a problem or challenge. And the colours are designed to help you remember their purpose. I'll guide you through a process. So first of all, just think of a relationship challenge or a person around forgiveness and set your intention. So trust your unconscious mind that it will show you exactly what you need to know now. Okay, so first of all, we have the white hat. So reach out and grab it and put it on your head. Now, the white hat represents everything logical. It's science, it's facts driven, it's like about data, it's about the feasibility, it's getting analytical about your problem, seeing objectives. So you can put it under the microscope and really analyze it, work out, maybe this isn't a way that you normally think. So have a think about this problem in a logical way with the facts in mind. And you can also stop the tape at any time just to make sure that you write down everything that you can think of about this problem in a logical way. So that's the white hat. Okay, now take off the white hat and reach out and grab the red hat. This is all about emotional thinking. It's associated with anger or emotions with a lot of charge. So it's all those feelings, perceptions, it's opinion, what your opinion is on things. It's all about gut feeling. So when you're thinking about this problem and you think about it with your feelings, so thinking about it in a way that is like maybe it's your opinion or it's your gut reaction to the situation, because sometimes that gut reaction can be really powerful, and it's a way of trusting ourselves and using that intuition that we have. So this is a really useful way of thinking. Okay, now we've got the black hat. So take off the red hat and reach out and put on the black hat. And the black hat is about judgment. It's about being a bit cautious, being really critical. Sometimes it's doom and gloom, it's skeptical, focusing on the risks, or maybe that you could consider that like it's a danger aversion, or, focusing on what could go wrong here, how could you be hurt, the negatives and the drawbacks. And sometimes this can be really useful to think about these decisions that we're making, and to be a little bit cautious and approach it in this way. And so using this judgment, think about this problem that you're having and around either your relationships or forgiveness, and think about it in a very skeptical way. So that is the black hat. Okay, now we have the yellow hat, which is the opposite to the black hat. So take that black hat off and put on the yellow hat. This is all about optimism. It's positive outcomes, all the things that can go right in this situation with this problem. It's happiness, it's speculative, it's best case scenarios. So imagine this challenge that you're having around forgiveness or relationships, and think about it in a way that is really optimistic, something that could the best case scenario where you couldn't imagine it going any better. So with this kind of thinking, have a think about your challenge. That is the yellow hat. So I'd like you now to take off the yellow hat and reach out and grab the green hat. And this is about opportunity, it's about growth, it's about creativity, it's all about new possibilities now. And what else can I do in this situation? So thinking about your challenge or problem, and what are some new ideas? What's a way of looking at this I haven't looked at? And brainstorming. Think out of the box. Get really creative with that. So that is the green hat. All right, now that we've done all of the other hats, we take off the green hat and we put on the blue hat. And this is the manager, it's the overseer, it's structured thinking, it's high level ideas. So it's when you have an overview, you reflect on all the insights that you found from all the other hats in that sequence. It gives you the big picture. It's about weighing up pros and cons to make an informed decision. And then when you make that decision, it's your plan of action. So when you think about this problem, then how can you see it from the manager's point of view? This is the overview, the bigger picture, and it involves all of the hats together. So what you've learned from everything, now you can come to the conclusion and maybe take a little bit extra time just to consolidate all of this information. So I found this quote about forgiveness, what Nelson Mandela said. He said, as he walked out the door toward the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison. Mandela's approach to forgiveness was rooted in the belief that it is not a weakness, but rather a strength that allows one to forgive. Very powerful words. So, anger and resentment are usually from experiences that we've had years ago, and we carry it and replay it in our minds to make sense of it. Or sometimes we make ourselves suffer again and again. Then it becomes bigger and a feeling of sorrow and pain and suffering and possibly hatred of others, and this affects our enjoyment of life. So this can lead to guilt and shame, regret, and also to loneliness, being unable to maintain healthy, loving relationships. And it can also show up as mistrust of people, expecting the worst thing to happen from our past experiences. And it becomes a new distorted reality, and we lose focus with what's good. How long is long enough to let go of the past now? Repressed feelings will become stronger if we don't try to understand our feelings. Trade your expectations for appreciation. And expectations limit people. It's not allowing them to be authentic, and you push their love away, and the other person starts to feel like they're wrong. So are you ready to cultivate forgiveness now? It's like this diagram. It's like being bitten by a snake and its venom continues to pour through your system. So this is, you'll find on that YouTube link there from Wayne Dyer, and I thought that was a pretty powerful image. So this is a really beautiful process called Ho'oponopono. It's a Hawaiian teaching about forgiveness, and the word means to cause things to return to balance, put things in order, or amend. And in Hawaiian, pono means balance of life. You can chant this phrase as a way of cleansing, for self-forgiveness, or for others, even to practice self-comfort. Forgiveness allows you to let go of anger and resentment that are taking up valuable space. This process is for self-healing. Think of something negative that has happened that may require forgiveness because it's an attack on our belief system. Now, we are acknowledging a wrong and feelings associated with that experience. Remember, forgiveness does not remove consequences, give absolution, or undo wrongdoing. So now take a moment to find something you need to find forgiveness for, as to release your suffering now. Prepare yourself by getting comfortable. Feel the earth beneath you, hand on your heart. Take 3 deep breaths in. And on each breath, imagine that you are inhaling positive energies along with life-giving oxygen. You may visualize the energy entering your body as white light, positive energy. You could imagine inhaling healing aspects of nature or qualities you would like to focus on now. Respect, generosity, patience, calmness, and forgiveness. Imagine each breath is healing your body of all suffering and penetrating every cell. So, to start, I'm sorry, please forgive me, or as I've suggested here, I forgive you. Thank you, I love you. I'm sorry, I forgive you. Thank you, I love you. So now just take a moment and write down some thoughts that you had during this process. I think it'll be very valuable. So this is a quote from Yoko Ono, and this was in 1969 when her and John Lennon got in bed for peace. So she says, "Take forgiveness slowly. Don't blame yourself for being slow. Peace will come." All right, this is an exercise to practice gratitude. So we're going to write a letter that you can either choose to send or give to somebody, but you can also do it just for yourself. So now think of somebody in your life that gave you love and trust. This person could be your caregiver or someone that was a great relationship example, or it could be your intimate partner. And those ones would really benefit from this, like actually giving it to them and then watching them read it. It's really beautiful to see. So it's all about really appreciating them now. Pour it all out to them. Write down what you're grateful for. What are some qualities that they have that you admire? When you felt that love from them, the time that you spent with them. Think about some nice words you have when you think about them. How have you changed by knowing them? What have they taught you? Go back to when you first met them. What is it that drew you towards them? Because remember, what we filter for, we find. So, yeah, give yourself a fair bit of time to do this. So, I'd really like to thank you for participating in Healing Your Relationship with Forgiveness workshop. It's been my absolute pleasure, and I respect your time and your energy that you've put into it today. You've been amazing, and I really appreciate it. And I hope that you've got a lot out of it. And your commitment to growth and to transformation in your relationships, because we need to commit to our relationships constantly so that we are continually growing in it. So thank you so much for being here and being who you are. So just to give you a little rundown on my Respect Relationships program, it's something that I've been working on for a little while, and I discovered when I surveyed couples what was most important in relationships to them, and respect was one of the number one things that came up. And so, what does respect mean? Well, it's to honour, to care for, have high regard for their abilities, their qualities, achievements, and their worth. Valuing their feelings and their views and wishes, their rights, even when you don't agree, accepting them on an equal basis, giving them the same consideration you would expect for yourself. It's deep admiration. It's being kind and courteous. It's being polite, avoiding interrupting, listening, thinking before you speak, giving them a hand, practicing compassion. It's respect builds trust, safety, and well-being. Individuals that prioritize respect are more likely to form positive and meaningful relationships. And so this is what I've based my course on, because I really believe that this just encompasses everything that we need in relationships. And so this is going to be reverse engineered. So I'm going to start with T first. And I believe that truth leads to more trust, and vice versa, really. Trust leads to truth. And so when we are able to communicate in a vulnerable way, this is when your trust starts to happen. And as they say, the truth will set us free. And so this is what I'll be basing the exercises on each week. We'll be developing trust exercises and really delving deep into that. And then after that comes connection. And connection is in a lot of ways. So connecting can be emotionally, physically, spiritually, and they know from experience that research has shown that when we connect in a physical way, then we can really be with that person in a beautiful way of communicating. And it's about care and compassion too. And I think that compassion is one of my number one values in relationships. And so this leads to emotional safety, security, intimacy. And this happens when we have all of this going on, when we're able to be free to experience all our emotions, then that's when emotional regulation comes in. And the importance of empathy too, like when we're experiencing this and when we're with our partners, and being able to understand what they're going through as well. And next is possibility. And with possibility, there is new perspectives. And so when we focus on this in our lives, we find more power within us, because we are able to really understand our values. And so something else that is important is having shared vision. And sometimes this can be expressed through our experiences. And so, like, if we want to do things together and plan things together, then that's important. So, and then there's also sensuality and sense of humor that will be incorporated into some of these fun exercises. And expression, so self-expression, but exploring this, and a lot of anger and resentment comes out of not being heard and not having that equality in our relationships. And so that comes down to active listening. And then the number one is the respect. And I believe that respect actually is from a deep sense of responsibility that we take on ourselves. And it's like honoring that person and having our responsibility is to have respect for them and for ourselves in the way we communicate with each other. So there you go. Hope you'll be part of my respect program. So I'd like to finish on another forgiveness quote. Forgiveness is the best form of love. It takes a strong person to say sorry and an even stronger person to forgive. And if this has been really great experience for you, I would love to see you in my respect program. So just click on that link and you can join the wait list. I'd love to have you there. Thanks for coming today.